What is up, NASCAR racing fans? You're watching the NASCAR Nitro Series on the HSL Diecast Racing channel. Today we've got the Roll Tide 499 here at Talladega. 499 for the extra lap in the main event. Roll Tide to celebrate the Alabama Crimson Tide and all the great players they had in the NFL, like Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, and Jahad Campbell. And just like Talladega, it's a wide track. It's going to be 3 wide heading out of the start gate, and the leader's going to start in the middle. We're going to kick it off now with our pole sitter, Tristan Racewellski, with Morgan Shepherd in second, Gator McCluskey in third, Violet in fourth, and finally the field fillers of Dale Jr., Front Row Joe, Alan Kulwicki, and Ricky Craven. And the gates are down for lap number 1. Gator and Tristan side by side heading towards the funnel chute. And look at this hit. Gator McCluskey lays out. Tristan sends him spinning into the outfield. Gets a little squirrely there, and then gets punted off the track by Violet. That is some karma for him. Dale Jr. bins it coming out of turn number 2 as well. We're kicking this off with a double DNF. And let's take a look. Violet leads the lap by just a bumper length. Kulwicki almost catches her, and both of the full-time guys are off the track but on their wheels. They're going to be starting in 5th and 6th for lap number 2. And now Tristan and Morgan Shepherd have a ton of slower traffic to navigate through if they want to challenge Violet for the lead. And the gates are down for lap number 2. Violet with a 2-car lead heads into the funnel chute. They're fighting behind her. And would you look at this, Front Row Joe and Tristan Racewellski team up to knock Ricky Craven off of the track, on his roof, and out of the race. And Front Row Joe actually steals the lead from Violet. And Tristan Racewellski starting in the back, getting held up by Alan Kulwicki. Got pushed off the track by him on the last lap. And now Morgan Shepherd's taking the lead from the outside. Front Row Joe tries to squeeze past him, and he does. Front Row Joe clears him despite being a field filler with no graphite. And look at this finish. They are side by side. Morgan Shepherd gets it at the last second. Somehow Tristan moves up to third, but this is worthy of the replay here. Morgan Shepherd taps Front Row Joe's left rear, pulls beside him, takes the lead at the last second by a bumper length. And now he'll have the all-important lead heading into the final lap of this segment. Will it be Morgan Shepherd or Front Row Joe or possibly Tristan on the outside without any pushers? The gates are down, and Tristan Racewellski without any pushers is running away from the field. Tristan heads into the funnel chute, navigates that smooth as butter. Morgan Shepherd quickly recovers the second place. He is on Tristan Racewellski's tail, trying to make a move for the lead, pushes him out of the way, but Tristan moves on to the main event by a single car lane. Now it's time for segment number 2. On the pole is Charlie, and she's flanked by the Uncle Elvis teammates of Rowan and your points leader William, trying to build on Skeeter Davis's DNQ. In the second row, Count and Nessa Force, joined by Christian Fittipaldi. The last segment was a classic Talladega barn burner. Lots of fast cars here. Let's see if this segment will live up to that. And so far, Charlie takes the lead, and oh my goodness, what just happened there? Count's upside down. Rowan bins it. Nessa Force gets knocked off the track by William. Caution's out for the first big one of the day. It's a triple DNF on lap number 1, and we got to show you this in the replay. And if you look here, Rowan and Nessa Force on the outside. Tag team Count. Push him off the track right before they get to the track barrier that's supposed to prevent this kind of thing. And then Nessa Force knocks Rowan loose and upside down in the upper lane. And then Rowan's teammate comes in and punts Nessa Force off the track. A triple DNF on lap number 1. We're down to 4 cars already. Half of them field fillers, staying out of the mess. And William, your points leader, has to be careful with that kind of driving. He's got a golden opportunity to build a nearly insurmountable points lead with Skeeter Davis's DNQ, and caution's out for another El Reco. This time it's Charlie on her roof and out of the race. She just blew a golden opportunity, loses control in the middle lane. While William is points racing, she had her ticket to the main event punched, but instead that's a lap 2 DNF. Now for lap number 3, Christian Fittipaldi actually has a full track segment lead over William, but look at this. He stalls on the track. William tags him, almost wipes out on his roof. He miraculously recovers. William was just one bad bounce away from negating any real serious points gains on Skeeter Davis. So if you watch here in the replay, he gets a little squirrely before hitting Christian Fittipaldi and spends an awful long time on his roof. Look at that recovery. That defied the law of physics, and he is still alive, starting in second for the final lap of this segment. And the gates are down. Dale Jarrett doesn't stall this time. He's side by side with William for the lead. William pulling away from the pack. He's got a car length lead, loses no time at all in the funnel chute, continues to gain ground on Christian Fittipaldi. And it's William, your points leader. He's going on to the main event. Christian Fittipaldi to the seconds race. taking full advantage of Skeeter Davis's DNQ. And now it's time for segment number 3 on the pole. We have Coffee Tart in that identical mechanically IROC Camaro to the GMP Gangs Charlie and Margot. Next to her, Riot Isaac and Rusty Wallace. Dave Marcus and Terry Labonte in the second row. The field fillers of Professor Plutonium and Elmo Langley round out the segment. And the favorite for this segment's got to be Coffee Tart, starting in the middle row. The gates are down, and as expected, Coffee Tart off to a car length plus lead over Rusty Wallace and Texas Terry. And look at this. Rusty Wallace throws Texas Terry off of the track, drives off himself miraculously. They're both still on their wheels. Coffee Tart runs away ahead of all the chaos. Riot Isaac barely holds on to second place over Professor Plutonium and Dave Marcus heading into lap number 2. The gates are down for the second lap. And once again, Coffee Tart rockets off to a car length plus lead heading into the funnel chute. Gets a push from her former car, but a whole bunch of cars go flying. At least one's on their roof. Caution's out. It's the second big one of the day. Professor Plutonium on his side, Texas Terry on his roof, Dave Marcus on his roof as well. We're going to show you the replay of this. Because if you look right here, Texas Terry gets tossed off the track by Rusty Wallace and Professor Plutonium. Meanwhile, Dave Marcus gets a wheel caught on the guardrail, collects the whole field behind him. That sends him spinning upside down into the outfield. You can see Professor Plutonium out there almost recovered, but Elmo Langley pins him to the outside wall. Tough break for all three of them, and if you're wondering where the HSL junkyard is, it'll probably return in the mods race, but this one was almost 20 minutes long, even before the instant replays. And the gates are down for lap number 3, and once again, Coffee Tart flying away from the rest of the field. Riot Isaac trying to take a shortcut, but there's way too much open space between the front and back stretch here. You can't do that like you can at Darlington. And now he's stuck behind the field for the final lap, and the gates are down. Look at Elmo Langley in the field filler. Had his career best finish here last year. His only career main event so far, but he is no match for the lightning fast Coffee Tart. Runs away by 3 track segments. Coffee Tart to the main event. Rusty Wallace gets by to go to the seconds race. And Riot Isaac, after his gamble doesn't pay off, will end up going to the 4th. And now it's time for segment number 4. Can you believe it? We're already past the halfway point of segment racing. And on the pole for this segment, we got Coffee Tart's teammate Crazy Ruby for Cut Rock Creek Racing. And starting in second, we got Margot, her satellite teammate. Starting in third, Gail from In-Laws Racing. Normal Isaac for Puffs Racing. Pantone for Sloppy Bear. And the field fillers of Tony Stewart and Tyler Bloodfish. And the gates are down. The middle and outer lanes form a 4-car block, pulling away from the rest of the pack here. Margot and Crazy Ruby battling for the lead. Pushes Crazy Ruby into the catch fence. Margot leads a single file line of cars across the finish line for lap number 1. Surprisingly, no DNFs at all in this segment, but Crazy Ruby's going to have to start this lap from dead last. And look at this, the field filler of Tyler Bloodfish actually moves up to second place. And the gates are down. The middle row disappears out of sight before my camera could even catch up to it. Having that 65 plus gram Crazy Ruby as a pusher ends the second lap before it even begins. Gale moves up to second. Regular Isaac moves up to 4th, and that'll start him right behind Margot, who's been dominant so far this segment. And the gates are down for lap number 3. And so far, Margot has been the Pied Piper. Everyone lined up behind her. She's been dragging them to the head of the pack, but nobody can seem to keep up. And we've got another pileup on the front straight. And it looks like Tyler Bloodfish is the only victim. That's not very surprising. If you've watched Lord Shank's stock car series, he spent more time in the hospital than on the track because of his reckless driving. And we're heading into the final lap now, and we still have 6 cars. And the gates are down for the final lap of this segment. Margot gets swept up in the draft, goes from 1st to 5th in the snap of a finger. Now look at this. Isaac and Crazy Ruby get past the funnel chute, fighting for the lead. Crazy Ruby pulls off the reverse side draft from the outside, a miraculous run to get into the main event. And it's a dead heat for second place. It looks like regular Isaac holds on to it by literally just a millimeter heading towards the finish line. What an incredible segment. Lead changes, 6 finishers. Can't get any better than that. And now it's time for segment number 5. And on the pole for this segment, we have Baby Richie. Next to him, his satellite teammate, Lunatic Alicia. Jimbo Rockford rounds out the front row. 2 more of Puff's cars, Russ and regular Richie, plus the field fillers of Bubba Wallace and Jamie McMurray. And look at this, Baby Richie flying off to start, smooth as butter through the funnel chute. Some clean spread out racing behind them, no DNFs, and I just spoke too soon. Jamie McMurray's on his roof and out of the race. He loses too much speed in the turns. That eliminates the extra pusher advantage from the center row for lap number 2 and beyond. The gates are down for lap number 2. Jimbo Rockford tries to take the lead from Baby Richie, and he is successful. reverse side drafts Baby Richie, but then gets tossed off the track. Miraculously still on his wheels, thought he cleared him, but had that long line of Puffs Racing cars in his rearview mirror, ensured that he wouldn't get past them for very long. Baby Richie takes this lap by the length of the backstretch, and now Jimbo Rockford fighting for it in 6th place, his first race in that new car, serving as a pusher for your Le Mans winner, regular Richie now, blows past his teammate. Everybody's jockeying for position on the front stretch. Alicia and Baby Richie collide. Cautions out El Recco, Jimbo Rockford on his roof. Bubba Wallace bins it in the middle of the turn, loses too much speed. And Puff's got to be excited right now no matter what happens. One of his cars, whether it's Puff's Racing or In-Laws Racing, they've been flawless this segment while everybody else took a header early on. Is going to have a horrible points day. Richie and Alicia side by side heading into the funnel chute. He side drafts Alicia into the retaining wall. She collects Baby Richie. And it's going to be Richie heading on to the main event, Russ to the seconds race. And the camera pans over, no DNFs for Puffs Racing. Great display of teamwork till that final lap when all the rest of the competition had been eliminated. And now let's head out to the track for our 6th and final segment. On the pole, we have Clyde for Uncle Elvis Racing. Next to him, wins leader. Behind them, the Far Out J in the 81. The field fillers of AJ Foyt, Gravedigger, and Paul Menard. And this could be anybody's race. Clyde still looking for that first career stock win, going up against Johnson Jr. and Far Out J. The gates are down and Clyde running away with it. So far, he's got a car length on Johnson Jr. and multiple car lengths on the rest of the field as they get tangled up in the front stretch. No DNFs, though, as Johnson Jr. pulls off a successful reverse side draft to scramble the field behind him and hold on to save a front row spot from a hard-charging Far Out J. And now it's time for lap number 2. No DNFs. Despite all that action on the first lap, and the gates are down once again. Clyde off to a track segment lead already. The other 6 cars bunched up behind him. He's flawless through the funnel chute. Leaves all that chaos behind him as he heads into the turns. Cautions out. They're not going to get through that this time. It is AJ Foyt on his roof. And it looks like Emerson made it through that mess to take away second place. Nobody else on the roof, just AJ Foyt. 1 DNF in this segment heading into lap number 3. And the gates are down. Clyde and Far Out J side by side heading towards the funnel chute. Where the heck did the inside lane go? Clyde and Far Out J make contact. Johnson Jr. pushes Paul Menard off the track. Somersaults but lands on his wheels. Still no sign of Emerson or Gravedigger. Let's pivot the HSL blimp back to the start gate in the split portion of the track. And it looks like Emerson and Gravedigger are still at the start gate. Emerson stalled it, got Gravedigger caught up behind him. They're going back to 5th and 6th place for this final lap. Thankfully, that didn't happen on the final lap, but those would count as DNFs. And the gates are down for the final lap. This time it's Johnson Jr. with the advantage heading into the fat track. Clyde isn't giving up. They make contact coming out of the funnel chute. That aggression doesn't pay off for Johnson Jr. as Clyde pushes him off the track after some more contact. Far Out J moves on to the seconds race. And the field filler of Gravedigger of all people to the thirds. And we saw Paul Menard get squirrely heading on to the front stretch. And he's on the side and his day's done. But look at Emerson here. Flips down the stretch just like Rusty Wallace and Kyle Busch and so many real drivers at Talladega. It's a miracle he'll have that car repaired for the 4th race. So now let's see who's going to join Emerson there. The heavy favorite has to be Johnson Jr. He's starting in the heavy lane. He's got a pusher. He was contending for the win in his segment. He doesn't want to be here at all. And the gates are down. Johnson Jr. takes a 3-car length lead before they even hit the fat track. And they're all spread out as he enters the funnel chute smooth as butter. He's running away with this first lap of the 5th race, or I should say 5th and 6th race, because Tony Stewart finished 6th in his segment, and he gets a little squirrely heading towards the finish line, but it doesn't matter. He keeps the lead heading into lap number 2. Pantone had some start gate trouble, but it isn't over yet. He's bump drafting Johnson Jr. for this lap, and now the gates are down. Johnson Jr. flying away with it again, and once again, Tony Stewart stuck at the start gate. We're going to have to get the track crews to do some repairs. Meanwhile, Johnson Jr. flying away from Pantone and Alan Kulwicki breezes his way into the 4th race. Made it look easy out there. He is angry about how his segment ended. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be one to watch out for, even though he's starting in 6th place. Ahead of him, the 43 of Riot Isaac. Ahead of him is Riot Isaac, Emerson, and Lunatic Alicia, Margot, and Violet, and the gates are down. Looks like Alicia and Emerson side by side heading into the funnel chute. Drivers crisscrossing and switching lanes. Emerson gets tossed off the track, and on his side, his day's over, and Riot Isaac breaks through the carnage to lead lap number 1. And from the back row, Margot and Johnson Jr. move up to 2nd and 3rd. Riot Isaac maintains the lead, though it'll be really tough to get around him. He's got a satellite teammate pushing him, and look at this. Margot flies off from that inside lane that's been giving people trouble, assisted by Violet's 67 Grand Crown Vic. But look at this. She takes a hard right-hand turn off the track. Completely self-inflicted error from the lead. That allows Riot Isaac to retake the lead, runs away from Johnson Jr. by 5 or 6 car lengths, and moves on to the 3rd race. And Johnson Jr. getting 2nd there, salvages a top 20 after being left for dead on the final lap of his segment. And now it's time for the 3rd race. Riot Isaac will be drafting with his teammate in the center lane, Baby Richie. Next to him, his satellite teammate Gale and a couple of field fillers behind them. The gates are down, the inside and outside lanes once again run away with it. But look at this, Baby Richie rebounds to hold on to 2nd place, bump drafting with his satellite teammate. There's a lot of field fillers in this 3rd race that got here by playing it safe. And play it safe they do. They all come to a rest before the turn. No DNFs on lap number 1. And right now, Gale is in the driver's seat. She's got the extra pusher. It's one of her satellite teammates trying to move on to the 2nd race and compete for a top 10 finish. The gates are down for lap number 2 of the 3rd race. And once again, it's Baby Richie and Gale far ahead of everybody else. Gale gaining ground on Baby Richie, heading out of the turns. It's going to be Gale moving on to the 2nd race. Baby Richie clinches 14th place, and Front Row Joe sneaks into the top 15 there from the middle of the pack. And now it's time for the 2nd race. On the pole, we have Morgan Shepherd, surrounded by 3/4 of the In-Laws Racing Team, their satellite teammate Regular Isaac, Rusty Wallace, and Christian Fittipaldi. The gates are down. Morgan Shepherd running away with this. Rusty Wallace not going to let him run away with it so easy, but he gets knocked around by Far Out Jay. Isaac gets thrown off the track. Morgan Shepherd runs away with it by almost the entire length of the backstretch. Rusty Wallace stalls out in 2nd place. Doesn't look like Far Out Jay is going to get far enough to pass him. And let's take a look at Isaac. He was on his wheels. He's still alive for now, but he'll be starting the 2nd lap of this 2nd race in 7th. It'll take a miracle for him to get into the main event. And the gates are down, and look at that. The 3 front cars plus Russ all running away from the rest of the pack. Morgan Shepherd and Far Out Jay side by side. They are relentless. They both want to get into the main event in the worst way. And Morgan Shepherd just tosses Far Out Jay off the side of the track. Morgan Shepherd takes the checkered flag. He'll be moving on to the main event. And it's going to be Rusty Wallace, Gale, and Isaac rounding out your top 10. And now it's time for the main event. And on the front row, we got our pole sitter, Tristan Racewellski, on the pole for this event, surrounded on both ends by the Cut Rock Creek teammates of Crazy Ruby and Coffee Tart. Both of the McDonald twins in the 2nd row. Rounding out the field is Regular Richie and your 2nd race winner, Morgan Shepherd. And now the gates are down. Tristan Racewellski getting a draft from Clyde. Coffee Tart not too far behind in 3rd place. Coffee Tart gets thrown off the track. Everyone else cleanly crosses the finish line in single file. And my apologies, that wasn't Coffee Tart, that was Morgan Shepherd. Him and William got tangled up at the back of the pack. Clyde moves up to 2nd place, but keep an eye out for Baby Ruby. She just plowed underneath Tristan Racewellski. She used the low nose of her car to her advantage at the start gate. She's running away from the rest of the field as chaos develops behind her. Caution's out for the big one. We got at least Coffee Tart on her roof. One of the McDonald's twins is on his side. Morgan Shepherd was involved. That's a triple DNF, the 3rd big one of the day. And now let's watch the replay, see how this happened. Clyde, Tristan, and Coffee Tart entered the funnel chute 3 wide. Clyde ends up on his roof immediately. So does Coffee Tart. Tristan somehow survives that. And Morgan Shepherd somehow gets pinned between William and gets T-boned by Regular Richie. That is a triple DNF. Cuts the field from 7 to 4 with 3 laps to go. That's right, there's an extra lap in the main event. That's why it's called the 499, and so many big names were taken out by that. And the gates are down for lap number 3. Tristan Racewellski trouble stalling his car as Crazy Ruby and William running away from the rest of the field. Now William gets a little reckless, drives off the side of the track before the retaining wall can stop him. Caution's out for another El Reco. We're down to 3 cars already. Tristan Racewellski stuck at the start gate with 2 laps to go. That's technically not a DNF. So here is your podium. Crazy Ruby to lead the field down with 2 laps to go. The gates are down. Regular Richie caught in the start gate once more. There you go. He's knocked loose. He's got a long way to catch up. Tristan Racewellski with the lead. Crazy Ruby hits Tristan. And now he goes flying on his roof. Tristan Racewellski wrecks from the lead. 1 lap to go. He had the win in the bag. Now it's going to be Crazy Ruby or Regular Richie. The gates are down for the final lap. And look at this. Both drivers stall their cars. They miss a shift and put it into high gear a little too late. They're side by side down the split track. Crazy Ruby now with a car length lead heading into the funnel chute. And they glide through it with ease. Richie looking for a lane, but gets stopped up. Richie gets a flat tire on the front stretch, the last casualty of this bloodbath of a main event. Crazy Ruby cruises to victory lane by 3/4 of a lap. And here is your podium. Crazy Ruby, congratulations to Mark D on your first stock win of the year. And regular Richie just came out of a fan appearance event on Saturday. Gets the podium today. Tristan Racewellski comments on my videos quite a bit. Check his channel out. He rounds out the podium, but today is all about Crazy Ruby in that newer car. Her season was next to over. Multiple DNFs and a DNQ in her old car. Since she got this Chevy Lumina stocker, mechanically identical to Ross Chastain's championship casting from last season. And now that risk is paying dividends. She's been in the top 10 almost every race. Now it's her first career NASCAR Nitro Series victory. An excellent points day for her. We got to see how it's all tallied when it's all said and done. But she's got to be close to the top 10 now. And here is that top 10. William and Coffee Tart round out your top 5 after the podium. Clyde and Morgan Shepherd round out the main event. Rusty Wallace, Gale, and Isaac in that order finish your top 10. Great points days for all these guys. Crazy Ruby with those 200 points has got to put her within striking distance of the top 10 in points if she keeps up this pace. And now let's take a look at positions 11 through 25. Christian Fittipaldi, Russ, and Far Out Jay, who wrecked on the last lap of the seconds race, rounds out your seconds race. Front Row Joe in 15th is your highest finishing field filler. And here's the rest of the field. Tony Stewart, your lowest finishing finisher. Paul Menard, your highest finishing El Reco. That is a total of 16 DNFs. Most of them clustered in 2 and 3 car groups, which really is a decent number for a track like Talladega, long and fast. Jamie McMurray clinches last place with his first lap DNF. Nessa Force, a horrible points day for her as well. Same thing for Rowan, Encount, and Gator McCluskey. Now let's take a look at the point standings. Williams, still your points leader, took great advantage of Skeeter Davis's DNQ. Now leads by 275 points with 3 races left to go. Skeeter Davis is going to need a miracle to win the championship. And Baby Richie, the model of consistency, still looking for his first career podium, but he hasn't finished outside of the top 20 all year, sits 3rd in points. Clyde moves up to 4th with his main event appearance. As does Coffee Tart. Richie, Johnson Jr., Morgan Shepherd, Tristan Racewellski, and Rusty Wallace makes up the rest of your top 10 after top 10 finishes, and Jimbo Rockford falls out, and so does Encount. Crazy Ruby at 1,014 points is only 45 points out from 10th place Rusty Wallace. Isaac and Gator McCluskey make up your top 15. Lord Shank loses a few spots due to his DNQ. And Charlie in 22nd is still your highest ranking mid-season entry despite her DNF today. While Elmo Langley is the highest ranking field filler, collecting starts, and even though he doesn't have the flashy stats of Ross Chastain leading laps and going to seconds races, he still passes him in points due to getting starts and finishing segments. Sometimes there is an advantage to the slow and steady strategy, and here is the rest of the top 64 in points as it currently sits. After next week's race at Pocono, all the drivers under the 64th place cutoff are going to be disqualified for the final 2 races of the season. So that way we can have 16 rounds with 4 cars in qualifying for the Broad Street Hockey Run. That's right, our winter track is going to be Philadelphia Flyers themed. Rest in peace, Bernie Perrant. I'll be revealing the track on Instagram in a couple of days, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It's not going to be a red zone that they can flip over, and it's going to be the orange zone. And there's going to be ramps in the orange zone, and if you flip over in the orange zone, you're still going to have to finish the lap for it to count, or else it's going to still count as an El Reco. Also, any driver on his wheels will be scored ahead of any driver on his roof that crosses the line. And look right here, it switched over to the last drivers outside of the top 64 cutoff a little while ago. These guys need to qualify, and they need a good finish at Pocono in order to save their seasons and keep it alive. And another thing to keep an eye on redlinederby.com is the signups for the 2026 NASCAR Nitro Series season. I haven't worked out all the details completely yet, but once I do, it will be up on redlinederby.com. Check out all the other great channels that are on there, redlinederby.com. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you out there on the track.